There it goes. All right, good afternoon, guys. I am here at the somewhat primitive HPR studios. I am joined with Mr. Elvis Garcia from Rejuv8. Did I say that right? Got it right?
You got
Rejuv8. So, real quick, and hopefully we don't get too many dings on this phone of mine. So, funny story, Elvis was a client, a past client. We helped Elvis and his wife how long's it been?
2 years ago.
Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
So 2 years ago, and then obviously just with follow-up calls and staying in contact, found out that Elvis has started on this journey. Well, has been on this journey now for a while with Rejuv8, and tell us a little bit about the company, please.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, thank you for having me, Steve. And so yeah, I started the company Rejuv8, and what I focus on is really restoring and helping people, just like myself when I was in the home buying process, is to improve credit, right? And with my journey and truly trying to help people, it's focusing on, one of the questions that, or any realtor or mortgage company is going to ask you, right? So what is your credit score, right? And that's kind of where it begins, right? The foundation of if you're going to get pre-approved or not, and see if you can even begin that journey.
That is the way it is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, credit score is the omnipotent driving force behind, mortgages, credit cards, whatever it may be.
Yeah, definitely, and that's the thing too. It's just one of the things that's the most important about my company and my core values, just to share, is it's honesty, integrity, and transparency. So sharing that information, and seeing what I do is important for my process. And then credit education and working with lenders and realtors just like yourself, learning more about the industry is important, especially when it comes to credit scores, right? So with most lenders, well, before COVID, was a 580. But now because of COVID, a lot of lenders have increased that score between 620 and 640.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I like to share is that, the higher your credit score is, the better interest rates, the better programs you can get into.
And it was 640, sorry to interject. It was 640 for a while. Just some of them recently have gone back down to that 620.
Yeah.
So so if we were a client, or we have a customer that calls in, Elvis, and it says, look, my credit is 580. I want to buy a house. Unfortunately, at that juncture, we would refer them to you. And then when they get with you, I think we hit on this a little bit on our prior conversation, but is it like a monthly fee? What does all that look like for them?
Yeah. So, and that's one of the things that I take into consideration, just because I'd say 98% of my clients, are home buyers or first-time home buyers. And one of the things with the home buying process, right? And I know it's one of the things that's encouraged is to save money, right? So during that process, you want to save money, and that's one thing that I consider. So with my services, it is a monthly fee for individuals. So I do have 3 plans. So individuals is 120. If it's a couples, there is a discount of $10 for each month, so it's 110. And then I do also have a military discount of $90.
Nice.
For any military individual. So.
Gotcha. And then obviously every situation is different. They're all unique, I'm sure, in some way.
Oh yeah.
What's a reasonable time frame? I guess it all depends, though. I mean, some credit repair could be 90 days, it could be a year, it could be 2 years. Right?
Yeah, so definitely, and that's one of the questions I get a lot is like, how long is it going to take, for the process and for things to get restored? And one of the things that I always share is, the same way it took a long time for your credit to be where it's at, it is going to take, and it is a process for it to get improved. Now, one of the examples I share to kind of, help determining that is, person, let's say for me, right? If I have maybe 3 negative things and maybe, 1 collection item, versus a person that maybe have 15 items, right? It's going to be a different process. It may take a little longer. And considering if besides just like credit card debt or collections, bankruptcies, right? Repos, child support, tax liens, those kind of things, those items are a different way of disputing for me, because it's a different way of approaching those, and those typically do take a little longer because obviously you have to deal with the courts and for verifications and other reporting agencies like LexisNexis and Pacer to see how they're reporting it and how the bureaus are getting their information. So
Gotcha. Okay. One, what was I going to touch on? I guess one thing or one misconception you think
yeah.
that people, let's give them a little bit of information that they think they don't know about their credit. Give us one thing. What would be one thing? Do you think, or a misconception that
Yeah. So I think one of the misconceptions is, and one of the things I talked, I share with each of my clients or during my consultations is, especially in the home buying process, a lot of people think Credit Karma. Credit Karma is the thing to look at and to see that's my credit score.
True.
And, right. So a little bit about Credit Karma, if I may. So Credit Karma, right? It's a great tool. It's don't get me wrong. I mean, I use it, but at the same time, when you're looking into the home buying process, is Credit Karma first is missing a credit bureau, which is Experian, because it's only reporting TransUnion and Equifax. But at the same time, it uses a different model of scoring, which is the Vantage Score 3.0.
I never understood that. Right. All I knew was, and correct me if I'm wrong, is I was told that these Credit Karma and these free reporting sites, the actual real credit score when you go to pull it for a mortgage or a car is normally about 50 points lower. Is that true? Yeah. Like Credit Karma may show 650, you actually go apply for a mortgage and it's 600, and the people are saying, well, hey, hold on a minute, I was 660 on Credit Karma.
Right.
Is that the case?
Yeah, that is the case. It can be different, like we talked about, right? Credit scores can be very different. But when it comes to credit card and the FICO score, right, it can be between 30 to 50 points and sometimes even more, depending on the credit line of credit, how much you're reporting for each bureau. So that's the other thing. But keep in mind, same thing with FICO. So a lot of people think that the FICO 8 is the score that that lenders use, and it is true. Most lenders use it, but if you're looking for a mortgage, there is a different FICO model that mortgage industry uses, which is the mortgage scoring. So your FICO 8 could be different from your FICO mortgage scores. So that's another thing that to keep in mind when you're looking at your FICO. Look at your FICO scores, and you'll be surprised the difference of the FICO 8 versus your FICO mortgage scores.
So when you're fixing the credit, just hypothetically speaking here, can you fix the FICO mortgage so that it goes higher quicker than the sorry, you guys. Or when you're doing general credit repair, do both of them get better? There's no way to make the FICO mortgage one get better quicker to qualify for a mortgage? Is that a weird question?
No, that's a great question. That's a really good question, and one of the things that I like to share a lot about. So FICO 8, the difference between the FICO 8 score and the mortgage score is the FICO 8 considers everything in a sense of debt, how much debt you have, your utilization on credit cards, store cards. But now the mortgage score model actually really focuses more on the debt that's owed. So they focus on on your credit cards, but not so much the utilization. So they take into account how much you owe on each credit card, obviously including installment loans or mortgage, whatever you have. But that's why the mortgage score is a lot different than the FICO, is because it doesn't count the utilization. Now FICO 8, it does count the utilization on each credit card. So obviously you want to be below 30% of each credit card. So
outstanding balance.
Right, and all that stuff. So that's why if you start paying out, if you're paying down your credit cards, right, and you're looking at your FICO 8, you might see it go up a lot quicker because it includes the credit utilization. Now mortgage scores, it doesn't count to it. It just counts the debt that's owed in the credit cards and the overall. So to answer your question, how do I get my mortgage scores to go up, right? So one of the things is, depending on if, let's say you have a car or student loans or credit card, you want to pay it down, right? So even if it's an installment loan that you have, you want to pay at least a little more than what's required. So if your installment loan is $200, maybe pay a little extra every month. Okay. Now your overall debt starts reducing, and then that's when you start slowly seeing your mortgage scores go up. And then obviously you're going to see your FICO 8 go up.
Gotcha.
So, and that's to answer your question.
Good. Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So the professionals say we shouldn't make these videos too long because people zone out. So we're going to kind of wrap it up.
Yeah.
And we're going to try to do one of these maybe once every 2 weeks if we can bring some value to people and kind of help them and educate them. Because whether you look at it, unfortunately or fortunately, credit is a big driving factor. So, I mean, the main thing for me is people need to deal with it rather than stick their head in the sands and hope that their credit gets better. I mean, for a nominal fee per month, they may not qualify now, but in 3 to 6 months, they may be in a position to get out of that rental rat race with Rejuv8's help and be in a position to buy a house. I mean, that's huge. Yeah, so that would be one of the big takeaways for me. Elvis, thank you very much for taking the time.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
And we'll try to maybe condense it a little bit in the next couple of weeks and give you certain tips, maybe within reason, that'll help everybody out.
Yeah.
All right. Hope that video finds its way to you guys, and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
Guys.
Take care.